Hey Pats Nation, welcome into Patriots Report presented by Mizzen and Main. I'm your host, Harris Rubenstein. We have plenty of news and rumors to go through, so let's get right into it. Our first one, the Julian Edelman suspension substance is in question because the NFL, as usual, did not wait for actual facts and decided to suspend Julian Edelman just because they felt like it. So the substance that initially triggered the positive test, quote, wasn't immediately recognizable, and the league just decided to suspend him anyway. So usually the NFL, if they don't immediately recognize a substance that comes through, they will just outright suspend the player because they'd rather be right than wrong and let someone walk and then have to deal with it all over again. But they didn't actually look at it yet. We know that an appeal is still coming down from Julian Edelman, but according to Albert Breer, get this, scientists from the NFL are going to be looking over the substance. Just scientists. That was all that he said in there, that scientists were going to look at it, which to me sounds like a load of crap, and the NFL is like, we have no idea what we're dealing with. Give him a suspension, and we'll figure out the details later, which has been every single NFL suspension for the past 10 years. We're going to suspend him and figure it out later. So I don't know from you guys. Is Julian Edelman innocent? At this point, he doesn't really know what substance triggers it. The Patriots don't know what substance triggers it. Alex Guerrero doesn't know what substance triggered it. And the NFL doesn't either. So this all leads to me saying he's probably innocent, but the NFL might just suspend him anyway because they hate being wrong about these kinds of things. But we'll see what happens over the next coming days as Edelman goes through his appeal process. Let's go to number 2. Brady and Gronk are missing OTAs. Not the original ones. We've already gone over that. But they will be missing the final OTAs of this month. A couple of the mandatory OTAs have already gone past, but the last couple are not mandatory. They are totally voluntary. They're just workouts. And one of the OTAs is actually a field trip. So it's not a huge deal that Brady or Gronk are missing this. We know that Gronk is missing this because he doesn't want to risk getting injured before he gets a new contract, which we got a new report about today that is probably coming down the pipeline but is not imminent. Both did take part in that mandatory minicamp, so they did not get in trouble. So no big news here. Just something that we, felt the need to report. They will be missing the last couple OTAs, so don't expect to see them out there on the practice field this week. All right, let's get to number 3. This is something that I reported when it originally happened. I had a source inside the Pats organization that said that there were some rumblings about this, but no, Rob Gronkowski is not getting traded. He denied it himself, saying, quote, "It just shows how much fake news is out there." So we know that Rob Gronkowski is trying to get a new contract with the Patriots. I don't think that's been going too well. That's at least what I've been hearing, that a lot of the different incentives are currently up in the air with what the Patriots and Gronk want to do. The trades, though, that were on the table were apparently for the 49ers and the Tennessee Titans, and that Brady caught wind of it and threatened to retire if they ended up trading Gronk. Now, this seems completely overly dramatic than what we usually hear from inside the Patriots organization, so take it with a grain of salt, but I did hear that there were some rumblings around the building that maybe something was going down. They could have just been also hunting for a leak. Don't worry, my guy was not the actual leak that they ended up looking for. All right, let's get into some rumors. Let's go into number 1. Is Joe Thuney's job in jeopardy? Well, before we get into that rumor, we're going to take a quick second for a word from our sponsors, Mizzen and Main. Thanks again to Mizzen and Main for sponsoring today's Patriots Report. 3 Lombardi trophies on Joe Thuney's job being in jeopardy. Now, Joe Thuney is currently out after he had foot surgery this offseason. Just had to clean up a couple things from last season. But with him being out, first-round pick Isaiah Wynn has now started to take some snaps at left guard, and we have seen Trent Brown and Isaiah Wynn as the most common left tackle, left guard combo. They've really been featuring that pair, so Joe Thuney has got to come back. I don't care that he's started every single game the past 2 years. If you're not out there, you face getting replaced, especially when the Patriots draft a guard/tackle in the first round. So it remains to be seen what happens with Joe Tunney, but as of right now, Isaiah Wynn, might just be taking his job for week 1. All right, let's get to rumor number 2. Did Dont'a Hightower play with a torn pectoral muscle the past 2 years? We're going to give this one 3 Lombardi trophies because it's not 100% fact, but coming from Dont'a Hightower, he says that he did play with a torn pectoral muscle in the Super Bowl against the Atlanta Falcons, and that his pectoral muscle ended up tearing off of the bone when they played the Atlanta Falcons this past season. So he was playing with a torn pec, but the severity of it was never really announced to us until he had to go on IR after the Falcons game, where he completely tore it off the bone. He obviously didn't play through it after that. But look, Dont'a Hightower has been one of the Patriots' best defensive players since they drafted him. He just hasn't been able to stay on the field. He's only played 16 games once in his career, and he was put on IR for the first time last year. He's just been banged up a lot for the Patriots over the past couple seasons. Shoulder injuries, knee injuries, ankle injuries. The dude's gotten beaten up, but now supposedly he's fully healthy and should be good to go for the upcoming season. That's one tough guy, though, playing through a partially torn pectoral muscle until it literally tears off the bone. Absolutely gruesome. All right, let's get to number 3. Is Trent Brown the biggest guy in Patriots camp? 5 Lombardi trophies. Look at this picture. He makes Tom Brady look like a college student. This dude is massive. He's listed at 6'8", 355 pounds. You should see the picture of him next to Mike Reese. It makes him look like a child. Mike Reese is 5'5", and Trent Brown is 6'8". So you can make your own conclusions about that one. But Trent Brown is actually the tallest listed player on the Patriots' entire roster by over 2 inches. And we'll bring it up for you right now. The tallest players on the Patriots, you have Luke Boanaku, who they picked up this offseason, Marcus Cannon, Rob Gronkowski, and Adrian Waddle all coming in at 6'6". Now, there are reports that Rob Gronkowski is closer to 6'7" than he is to 6'6", but Trent Brown is 6'8", and you can add an inch due to cleats. That means in cleats, this dude is 6'9", which is absolutely outrageous for a left tackle. I can't wait to see this guy on the field. You go watch some of his highlights, with the 49ers. It's entertaining. This dude is massive, and the way that he can move on the field is really, really impressive. All right, let's get to number 4. Is Jason McCourty having some issues? Well, we're going to give this one 4 Lombardi trophies. He's pretty likely that he's having some issues, though we're not really sure at this point what those issues exactly are. He's been standing on the sidelines for all of the team drills so far throughout OTAs, which is even more unusual because he's been working with defensive backs in all the individual drills. So why isn't he working out with the team if he's working out with the DBs? This is very strange. I'm sure we'll hear more about this as camp goes on, but as of right now, he was supposed to be the Patriots' number 2 corner. They got him from the Browns this offseason. So we got to figure out fast what's going on with Jason McCourty, or heck, someone might just take his job like Isaiah Wynn is with Joe Tunney. We'll get into a possible replacement for Jason McCourty in just a second. But let's get into a fun rumor here. Does Gronk have the best arm in camp? We're only going to give this one 3 trophies as of right now, but according to Duron Harmon, he's never actually seen a ball thrown as far as Rob Gronkowski threw it. So apparently Gronk caught a touchdown, and instead of spiking the ball in celebration, he decided to throw the ball over 2 practice fields into the top branch of what has been described as an extremely tall tree. Duron Harmon was flabbergasted in the photos that were coming out over just how far Gronk physically threw this ball. Now, it's great to know that Gronk is, hitting the dumbbells and getting those bicep curls going, but man, that's a long way to throw a ball. So we want to know from you guys, who is the Patriots' best non-Tom Brady quarterback? Give me a heart for Brian Hoyer, a like for Danny Etling, a laughing face for Rob Gronkowski, and of course, a wow face for Julian Edelman, because he played quarterback at Kent State when he was drafted in the 7th round. Did you know that Julian Edelman got drafted out of Kent State as a quarterback? Because he was a quarterback at Kent State. I'm sure that the likes of Tony Romo and Phil Simms will tell you that a million more times throughout Julian Edelman's career. But let's get into our last rumor. Is J.C. Jackson going to be the number 2 cornerback? Only going to give this one 2 Lombardi trophies for now. It's not that likely, but as of right now, we've seen J.C. Jackson get a lot of snaps at the number 2 cornerback spot with Jason McCourty out. And apparently he's been impressive as well. Multiple pass breakups, 2 interceptions as well throughout camp. He's the favorite right now out of all the undrafted free agent cornerbacks to make the team. But the entire cornerback core is really wide open. I mean, you have Stephon Gilmore, who's going to be the number 1 corner no matter what. And then after that, a lot of jobs are open. That number 2 cornerback job is open. The number 3 corner job is open. The starting slot corner job is open. There are a lot of different roles on this Patriots secondary that are really up in the air. And if you look at kind of the bottom half of the Patriots cornerback depth chart here, J.C. Jackson, Ryan Lewis, Keon Crossan, we've heard their name a bunch throughout OTAs so far as guys who could take some more elevated steps towards bigger roles on defense this year. I've called out Keon Crossan as one of my breakout players on defense this year. Maybe J.C. Jackson could be one of those as well. It remains to be seen who exactly gets that number 2 job. I would still expect it to be Jason McCourty, but if he's not playing, then he's not going to be the favorite for the job going into preseason this year.